this is Debby from Kids Around Dogs, KAD. Right, we're going to talk about books for our KAD library. The book today is
Dog Knows by Sindhoor Pangal.
This book is written by Sindhoor Pangal. She's a dog behaviorist in India and quite known in the dog professionals world, as she's also the founder of Bark. That is a really great school, again, in India, although you can also take lessons digitally, so online. She wrote this book because she works a lot with street dogs. You might know that India has many street dogs, so she has this great opportunity of seeing them, studying them, and kind of get to know them more and understand them more. Often when, especially I think if we come from a country like, say, where I live, England, we don't have many street dogs. There is still some, I hear, but you don't actually, see them around. So instead in India, there is literally, they're everywhere. So from maybe an English point of view, to us, a street dog might be something dangerous, might be something that might create some problems, they might be associated to a lot of negative things, but effectively we don't know, right? Because we don't have the opportunity of experiencing it here. So instead, Sindhoor has this great opportunity. She lives there, she sees street dogs all the time, and instead of just maybe going with the flow, she's studying them. She's curious, and so she's studying them, and she obviously has a great fascination and knowledge of dogs, so she wants to know more about them and what they'd be like if they weren't guided or instructed by humans to behave a certain way, to act a certain way, to do certain things, to walk where they're told, all these kind of things, to be on a lead, all these kind of things. So Sindhoor in this book reveals so much about street dogs. But the thing is that I really loved about this book is that she doesn't just tell you this is what street dogs do, da-da-da-da-da. She actually tells you her story. This is a memoir / educational books about street dogs and dogs, in fact. She guides us through her story. She takes us basically on a journey of what it's been like for her when she adopted her first dog and then her second, and now she studied to become then a behaviorist, how she went abroad to do her studies as well, with other professionals in our industry, how this has made her understand that she had still lots to learn, and at the same time learning effectively, with the right people and obviously with dogs themselves. This book has made me laugh in a few parts. I've been for some bits that are actually quite funny, but it has also made me cry quite a bit. Sindhoor has been through quite a lot in her life, I would say, especially in the recent years, and so this book has really moved me, and has given me a far better understanding of the woman behind the stories, and again a great understanding of dogs themselves. There are some pictures in the middle of the book that I thought I'd just share a little bit here with you. So here it literally shows how she has contact or not sometimes with some street dogs. In fact, you see her here, she's just having kind of like a drink and just a random street dog just sitting there. Actually, that's not her in the photo, someone else in the photo, but someone is just having a cup of tea and there is a random dog there. Then you see them as well finding what it might be a bit of cool space here. I suspect there's quite a warm place and pavement can get quite hot, so they might just be finding some cool place on this kind of mountain of what looks like soil or sand. And then obviously there are photos of her own dogs. There is photo of Cheru. Cheru was one of her dogs, and there is photo of Nishi. Nishi as well was another of one of her dogs. So she really takes you into some private moment of her life, and I think is lovely how she shared that in her book, in her story. And then she also always puts a bit of a teaching part. Let me find it. Like what some things mean in this certain chapter. For instance, in this one she talks about enrichment for dogs and what is it, and she gives us some advice, some tips on how we can use enrichment to make our dog's life better, and how she did it herself as well. In a bit of her book, she talks about how she went to study with a great expert in our industry to read Rugas in Norway. And she says about to read changed my entire perspective on dogs. I had extensively communicated with her over email and read all her books and articles, but I knew I needed to visit her because I could tell that there was more to all of this. To read's courses spanned 15 months, 1 weekend each month. Traveling to Oslo 15 times or spending 15 months in Oslo was not an option. So I continued to explore other ways of engaging with her. The perfect opportunity presented itself in 2013. I was then working as a VP at Silicon Valley-based startup, but I was on a sabbatical. One day I received a rare, gracious offer from Turid to come stay with her and her students for a month. At that time, I was not sure I wanted to pursue a career with dogs, but I started to reconsider my corporate life. I was also starting to influence a lot of pet parents through Bomba Dogs, the online group I had created, which had grown rapidly. While the cost of spending a month in Oslo was going to be substantial, I knew this was an opportunity I simply could not pass. So off I went. I went to class not knowing what to expect. The students were curious about me and eager to know what I was doing there. "How is your English so good?" one of them asked me. I smiled and wondered if a history lesson was due. They were also excited to educate me about their way of life and share with me what they have been learning from the last year and a half. They were warm and welcoming. I knew I was in the presence of like-minded people and felt eager to learn. My first lesson came from a gentle and shy little whippet. During the break, I went to meet this little whippet. I sat down next to her, as I was used to doing with dogs back home, and started talking to her in an excited tone. The whippet immediately turned her face away, yawned, and quickly licked her lips. I was a stranger to her. She was shy and wanted to take a bit more time to see how she felt about me. I would imagine, having learned about calming signals, I'd see this and recognize it for what it was. Turns out that most of us are blind to subtle communication. Some of the students had to point out to me that the dog was giving me calming signals to tell me that she was uncomfortable with the way I wanted to interact with her. I didn't like what I was being told and got up and walked away, muttering to myself, "How loosen up, would you?" I was only sitting next to the dog. That was just the beginning. Over the course of that weekend, I had to unlearn a lot more, learn a lot, and accept how little I actually knew. There is obviously so much more to the story of how she started her journey effectively with Turid in Norway, but I really liked this point on how effectively she had to unlearn a lot to learn what was appropriate and what was right by the dogs. And she did that. She really did. She was kind of humble enough to go, you know what, I don't know enough. I need to learn for the good of what I want to do for dogs and humans and for herself, I would imagine. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and everywhere else on KAD Kids Around Dogs. Thank you. Bye.